I'm gonna share with you my clothing brand design formula so you can make a winning clothing brand product that can do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K months. And just to give you a little bit of proof that I know what I'm talking about, my name is Fred Sanders. I'm the founder of Sanders Consulting. We run and operate a multitude of clothing brands that are scaling out and doing millions, 100K a month, 50K a month, like this brand right here that's doing a little over $30 million just this year. I'll go ahead and refresh so you know it's not fake. I'm going to be showing you the same design strategy that you're able to do to leverage and build a winning product and become an actual established brand that's able to do and get consistent sales. I'm going to be talking about everything inside this video. I'm not going to gatekeep anything. If you want to work with me one-on-one, you can apply for that link down in the description. But I'm going to be covering everything on how to design, how to use the latest and greatest AI softwares, even going into in-depth researching and creating a couple of example products for you guys in this video so you have everything you need. Let's hop into it. So to kick things off, the number one thing you have to know about designing is that the more you have, the better. That doesn't mean that you should sacrifice quality for quantity. You need both. You need both quality and you also need quantity so you can test and figure out which products are working better, okay? So when I first start off, I like to design 10 to 15 mockups. Now, if you don't know what a mockup is, it's simply like an example of what your clothes could look like. So I'll show you a couple of mockup examples. These can be on a simple white background like this, or they can be designed like this, but basically it gives you an overall gist of what the clothing will look like before you actually get a tech pack or an actual sample made in your hand. It's the blueprint for an architect. It's like giving you that mock-up feel. Making these mock-ups in 2026 is completely different than the last time I did this video. If you guys remember the last time I watched and did this video, we were talking about how to hand draw and how to create this in Adobe Illustrator. You can still do those things, but nowadays, if you're not leveraging AI, you're just far behind. So I want to talk about one really great AI software that's specifically made for clothing brands in this video, and I'm going to be using it and just showing how simple and easy it is. So the software that I would recommend you use for designing, and you can use anything that you want, but the one that I would recommend you use that's just the simplest that I've seen and the easiest to use is a site called Dokimi. Okay, so you can go to it, getdokimi.ai. Link for that is down in the description. So they have this really cool design module. From here, you can pretty much put in your brand name, select the niche you're in. So let's say I was going to call this clothing for us. Right? I know that's a very terrible name. And this is going to be, you know, an athletic active wear. And then let's say I already had a domain. I can put all that information here and just generate idea. Automatically going to pull from my website and start making me designs based on my previous design. So it's good if you already have something. But if you don't have anything, this is where this website really shines, because not only does it help you design, but it also goes through and helps you make the actual creatives, even videos, and even tech packs when you need it. So it does kind of have like a one size fits all. Unlike other AI softwares, like you can use things like ChatGPT or, you know, all these other different ones, Midjourney, but you kind of have to pay for all of them. This one's just kind of like an all-in-one, which is why I like it. But one really cool thing is they have this chat feature. So before I decide to make anything, let's say we're going to be a streetwear brand. So let's say I'm a streetwear brand named Sanders Consulting. I know that's a terrible, let's call it Sanders. Let's do a streetwear brand named Sanders. So we're going to take Sanders from Sanders Consulting. By the way, if you want one-on-one mentorship, apply for that link down in the description. But we're going to say I'm a streetwear brand named Sanders. I want to make some cool designs that are fashionable but stand out on the For You page. So the good thing about this is I can chat with it. So if I don't already have an idea, which that's 9 times out of 10 the problem while you're watching a video like this, you may not already have an idea of what you should be making. This will go in and it'll let you and ask you questions. You see here, it's like, who is Sanders designing for? Like, what's the customer world? Are they in music, sports, art, specific subculture? I'm gonna give it more information. It's gonna ask me questions and basically quiz its way into figuring out the kind of design that I'm actually asking for. I'm designing for a kid in his 20s that loves streetwear and also is highly fashionable. So you see I'm going back and forth. Got it. That's pretty broad territory. A fashion forward guy in his 20s loves, but could be, you know, into 2 different brands. What makes it yours? Is there a meaning, a city, a story, not a two behind the brand, even one sentence? So here I'm gonna make up a story about my brand. Good thing is I can go back as many times and have conversations with it, and it's gonna keep questioning me until it gets more information and pull that information out of me. So boom, I can go and do this as many times as I want to, and it's just gonna keep going back and asking me questions. But when I'm actually ready to make an actual design, I can just swap over the mode into create and just tell it to create. And the cool part is it's automatically gonna go ahead and design that mock-up that I was talking about earlier. It's gonna put it on a nice white background, which is cool because it's designing on a white background, which if you know anything about AI, when it designs on the backgrounds and starts making all these crazy backgrounds, it starts to mess up the text and the text looks weird. But you can see here, it made a shirt for me. Now, obviously this isn't the best shirt, but it made a shirt and it spells out the actual words. It's not gonna mess up words or do any things like that. But what I can do is I can go back and forth with it. And let's say this is too simple. I want to spice it up a little bit. Now, before we go into this, I want to take a brief pause on using Dokimi here, and I'm going to talk about the next step that we need to be focused on. So while you're making 10 to 15 mock-ups, you may have seen that last design that I made. It kind of looked a little bit similar to something like this. And a lot of you guys, when you're making designs, will do stuff like this. You'll put your logo maybe on the top right, or your logo super big on the shirt, and call that a design. Now, the only problem with that is nobody knows who your brand is, so they probably aren't gonna wanna rep and support your brand. And that's just the way it is until you're an actual established brand. So me just putting, my brand logo like I had it on this shirt right here probably won't work as well. So what do you do? How do you do something and spice it up a little bit? This is where we talk about something that I like to call value boosters. All right. So we have to make sure we have these value boosters. Not only do they spice up your shirt, they make your shirts, your hoodies, your zip ups, all of your clothes, right? This is for everything. It makes it more valuable, all right? Now, certain kinds of value boosters that you can have, and you can choose from this entire list. There's hundreds of them. You can do competitor research, see what kind of value boosters your competitors and stuff are using. And you don't have to just do one. You can mix and match these and do as many as you want. Certain of them are like things like an acid wash. So different colors on the actual garment itself, maybe adding rhinestones. That was a huge trend and still is a huge trend. Right? A lot of people don't know that if you have a regular shirt and add rhinestones on it, all of a sudden it's worth $5 or $10 extra in the customer's eyes, right? Or more valuable. Maybe you embroidery instead of just like a regular D to G, print, you actually put some embroidery on it or add some distressing on the text or some distressing on the shirt. Maybe you put a patch, right? Maybe you have like a Letterman patch on your shirt or your zip up, rather than just regular D2G. Like the idea with value boosters is to get away from what everyone does. They go from a print on demand, super easy print on demand, which is fine if you're doing print on demand, that stuff works. But when you're a person who is print on demand and they see a shirt that they've seen hundreds of thousands of times, things that they can easily go into the thrift store and buy, versus having something with a ton of different value boosters that is just completely unique, one of a kind, it just makes it more valuable. It's just simple supply and demand, right? So you definitely want to make sure you have these value boosters added in any ways that you can. Now, when it's talking about making a brand new design, so you actually have something to give for a prompt. We know about value boosters. I would recommend doing some competitor research. Don't try to reinvent the wheel when you're first starting off, okay? Do some competitor research, right? Figure out who makes similar clothing to what you're trying to do, right? And see who's actually getting consistent sales and has a good following. Let me show you an example. A really good way to do competitor research is going to Instagram. So we want to go in where our competitors are already selling. We may go to the search, and let's say we're doing a streetwear brand because we're doing it for the sake of this video, which by the way, you can do this for any kind of brand. So let's say streetwear clothing. We may type in streetwear clothing brands. We may go to streetwear clothing brands and see, and here we can go in and we can see what our competitors are doing. We can see how many likes are going in. Like for instance, this one has a lot of likes, right? We can also see when we scroll down, a lot of people are saying, hey, I like this, it looks cool. We can click on the actual brand, go through, see what kind of pieces that they're doing. And I may find that I like one of their pieces and I want it for myself, right? So let's say this army hoodie, I may say, I like this and take a screenshot of this, bring it back into Dokimi, right? And say, hey, I want to build, a clothing garment similar to this. Now you don't want to copy it. Obviously you never want to copy it, but a good design always has good inspiration, right? And I can guarantee you they had inspiration of some sorts. And that's what creativity is, at least in my mind, is getting good inspiration from people, but making it your own, right? So you always want to make it your own. So for example, we may take that picture that we had and we may go to upload an image here and we may drop this and say, I like this piece here. Let's change a few things up so I can make it mine for the Sanders brand, right? And I'm gonna send that and we're gonna go ahead and create that on Dokimi. Now, a cool thing about Dokimi that I didn't mention is that it's 100% for clothing brands, all right? A lot of other AI softwares can do a lot of great things, but they don't have all of their things 100% specified for clothing. That's why I personally like to use Dokimi when I'm designing or doing videos. A lot of other AIs, can do a lot of great things. ChatGPT, for instance, can do a lot of great things. But the reason why other AIs still are around is because some AIs are super specialized in something. Let's say, for instance, I have eczema, right? And I'm dealing with itchy skin. I can go to a general doctor and they can prescribe me something, right? Maybe it works, right? Or I can go to an actual, dermatologist, I think that's what it's called, and I can go to a specialized doctor and get some actual specialized treatment from someone who only deals with skin problems all day. That's kind of what Dokimi is. It's specialized. ChatGPT, all the other ones are kind of like general doctors. They can do it, right? I just honestly see the designs being so much more high quality, so much more refined, and based on things that actually sell with the way that it designs. So boom, you can see it made and took that piece that we really liked and it made it ours. Now, we may want to add some of those value boosters that the other piece had. For instance, these distressing here, and you see how it has like these safety pin looking things here, which are actually pretty cool. I may want to add stuff like that. So I can click on reference right here and say, I want to keep the distressing and safety pins from the previous piece. So boom, after going back and forth with it for a couple of tries and really just giving it more pictures and stuff, again, from this competitor brand that I saw, you can see it kind of took this piece and it made it ours, right? As you can see, the piece looks remarkably the same. So I probably would go back, add a couple different variations to say, hey, maybe move the distressing around a little bit. Maybe we want to take away the safety pin aspect, or maybe we want to do something different with the safety pins. Again, the whole idea with designing and using competitor brands isn't to copy. I'm not telling you to go out there and copy your competitors and do the exact same thing that they are, but I do want you to take inspiration, okay? Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to go out and make something completely brand new from scratch. Go out, find a couple competitor brands, see what's already out there and working, and then you can go and leverage that. And you can start somewhere rather than starting from complete scratch, right? So I may go in, make a couple tweaks, change the color, change around the font, make this piece my own, and I know I'm already starting out well ahead because this piece has done really well. And you can see there's a lot of engagement and stuff on this piece right here. So it gives me a lot more confidence. So one really important thing that I want to make sure that I cover is that simple designs do not work as well as, again, more complex designs that include things like those value boosters, especially if you're a streetwear brand, right? Now you can get away with more simpler designs if you're an athletic or an athleisure brand, or high fashion, things like those. But really, when you're in the streetwear niche or in the contemporary niche, those simple, super simple designs like this, where you just have, again, that D to G text on it, and you just have a screen print with some text or your logo, people they see that stuff all the time, right? When anyone wants to start a clothing brand, this is exactly where they start, right? But it takes a person who's really creative, really knows a few things to go out and design a piece that has some creativity in it, right? That has some value boosters like this, that has, different rhinestones attached. You can see as well it has distressing on it. You can see it has a custom zipper. You may not be able to see the custom zipper, but it has a lot of different creative elements that really make the piece stand out. And that's what people are buying. When you're trying to design a piece that's able to do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus K months, you're looking at a piece that's standing out that people aren't used to seeing, right? That's what you're looking for. Now, if you want one-on-one help and you want to work with me personally on your clothing designs, on helping you scale and get your clothing brand to that next level, again, I would highly recommend you apply. Link down in the description to see if we're a good fit to work with one another, okay? You can always check me out on Instagram. I drop a bunch of free videos there, or just go to my YouTube and just go to my website and click on and book a call directly with me, right? Either or is perfectly fine. I hope this video was valuable to you. I hope you guys learned and got something out of it. That's all I got for you guys in this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.